Friday night and I'm making one of my new favorite kitchen recipes that I learned from Rachel from that 1870s homestead. She is an absolute boss in the kitchen. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And actually, she said in her video that her original inspiration came from Jess from Roots and Refuge, which is cool because I also watch her, but I don't remember seeing her video. Anyways, tonight for dinner, I am making sweet potato hash. I am feeling a little under the weather, not sick, but I hurt the muscle behind my shoulder. And so I feel a little bit like a tin man right now, but I have been thinking about making this all week and I have time tonight, so I'm going to do it. I'm making it in such a massive cast iron. I don't know how big this one is, but it's fairly large. Because whenever I cook, I like to make sure that we have leftovers because I think I've said this before, I don't really love cooking. I'd much prefer being outside and just doing other things. So I try to make enough that I don't have to cook 2 nights in a row. Is that lazy? I don't even know. I feel like it's efficiency. So to make this, I took, as you saw, I didn't have any breakfast sausage not in a casing. So I actually took these out of the casings that we put them in. This was my venison from last year, mixed with pork fat when we made the sausage. Maybe I'll link that in the description box below if you want to see our sausage making process. So I'm going to take this off the heat now, and then I'm going to start to cook my onions. I also have some cinnamon bread in the bread maker, so I just never know when that thing's going to go on knead. So that's why the first bit was to music, because it was kneading. So yeah, let's just get this out of the pan and get our onions caramelizing. I have to scoop it out because this pan is heavy. So I don't know exactly how much this was. It was 5 sausages. That's the amount. Is that a acceptable measurement? And I'm going to add some pork fat back to the pan to cook the onions in. We always, I keep the bacon because we do buy pork from our friends. So always keep the bacon fat and add it to this jar and keep it in the fridge. And that's what I try and cook with. Sometimes I'll cook with butter, but I usually just use this. So now we're just gonna fry up our onions until they are kind of nice and see-through. Maybe not brown them, but just so they're nice and clear. I used a large onion because we like onion a lot. I think it adds great flavor to a dish, but you don't have to add this much onion. Rachel called for a medium-sized onion in her recipe, and also because I'm making a monster batch. So this recipe tonight, you're probably not going to follow this if you decide to make it, but we have some leftover rabbit from the other night, so I might throw that in here as well and cook it up just to repurpose that dish. It was so delicious, but even, you know, we've eaten it for 2 nights now and we still have the back left, so I might take that meat off the bone and add it to this dish. So we're gonna let these cook up. Okay, our onions are nice and they're a little bit caramelized, but mostly just cooked through. I'm gonna add my fingerling sweet potatoes. I did go ahead and skin them because the skins were a little wrinkly, but they taste way better than they look. They are super delicious. Then we are going to add our spices. In Rachel's video, she suggests adding thyme. So I'm gonna add some of the thyme that I processed last weekend, so that's exciting. And we're gonna add a little bit of smoked paprika left, so we're gonna add a little bit of that because that's what Rachel said, and it tasted so good last time. Now I am gonna add the rabbit, like I said, but I'm not adding it to this step because it is already cooked. So I am going to cook this for about a half an hour at 450. Let all these flavors kind of meld together. I cooked the rabbit in, I'm going to bring that recipe along at some point because it was one of those mistakes. Not mistakes, but something that I tried. It was an experiment that just worked out really well. So we're going to mix all these three together and cook this in the oven at 450 for about a half an hour, and that'll just let all the flavors cook together, but also cook the sweet potatoes. That is some volume. Let me measure this. I want to be able to tell you how big this sucker is. So the pan width is 15 inches, so she's a biggie. Okay, so we're going to transfer this into the oven. And while this cooks, I'm going to pick apart the rabbit off the bone. Okay, this has been cooking for about 20 minutes, but I want to add the rabbit. Give it a stir and add the rabbit, and then we'll put it back in and cook it for a little bit longer. Okay, so the rabbit I pulled apart, kind of like pulled rabbit. There's some onions and tomatoes. What I cooked it in was stewed tomatoes and something called rummage relish. And I'm not worried about the change of flavor because this is, it's pretty mild. It's a little bit sweet, so it'll go nicely with the sweet potatoes. But I have a habit of mixing foods that were leftovers into other dishes. Kind of keeps it interesting for both of us. So I'm gonna pop this back in. I'm glad I checked it. It's getting pretty brown, and those sweet potatoes are almost done. My oven cooks really hot, so I actually turned it down a little bit. I need both mitts to lift this sucker. So we'll let that go for about 10 more minutes and then we'll add our eggs. Okay, let's crack an egg or two. Oh my gosh, that smells good already. Probably just eat without the eggs, but that's one of the prettiest parts. So let's give it a stir. This pan is newer and so it's not totally flavored yet, so there is still a little bit of stickage, but I'm going to try and make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wells. I brought 6 eggs, so I was hopeful. And I'm just going for it, straight egg in the thing. 1. Whoa. 2. Uh-oh. Oh, this is interesting. 3. The way that egg broke was funny. Rescued it. 4. 5. You can come on in for this last one. 6. We're gonna put that in for about 10 or 15 more minutes. I might turn the heat down a little bit. Definitely doesn't need to be that hot. I'm gonna turn it down to maybe 400. All right, let's get her back in. Oh, look at that. I'm literally gonna tell you right now, one thing about Katrina in the kitchen is, if I even step away for a second to do something else that I like more than cooking, we're done. And there's a lot of those things. That's what just happened, and I forgot about my stuff. Didn't forget, I just got a little sidetracked. So knitting can be dangerous, right there. Thought I'll go knit for a couple minutes while I wait. So let's take this sucker out of the oven. The eggs are cooked. Almost solid, but that's okay. Look at that. It's amazing. If you don't do this trick and you heat with wood or whatever, you want to save energy, turn your oven off, leave the door open a crack to heat your house. All right, just took it out of the oven. I'm gonna let it cool. Brian is outside getting ready because we are going to attempt to do more of the Sugar Shack roof tomorrow. I'm not sure how helpful I'm going to be, but we're gonna give it a go. So we're gonna let that cool off. Looks so good. I'm gonna prepare the plates, scoop out some sauerkraut and call him in to wash his hands. Yummy. Okay, so a twist on this one. This is sweet potato hash with breakfast sausage and some rabbit. Put the rabbit leftovers in here.
Cool. That's eggs.
So this year when we make sausage, I'm not gonna do any probably breakfast sausage in casings. I'm only gonna do breakfast sausage in a package because I really like this. Hey, you like it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So definitely do that. Because it saves work in the sausage making process. It was sucked to have to take the meat out of the casing that I already did. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.